Hello students, now we are moving to another properties of continuous functions in topological spaces, which is described in this theorem. Theorem says that let x2 and yu be topological spaces and f is a mapping from x to y be a function, then the following are equivalent. There are 5 statements. This one, f is continuous. Here continuous means which is continuous in continuous at all the elements in domain. So in previous class we discussed the continuity of a function at a point x naught. Here f is continuous means it is continuous at all of its domain. Okay, all of points in the domain. Now second one, for every v belongs to u, f inverse of v belongs to τ, which means that for every v belongs to u means open set in y. For every open set v in y, its inverse image f inverse of v belongs to τ. Belongs to τ means open in x. So it is nothing but inverse image of open set is open. The second statement is nothing but inverse image of open set is open. Inverse image of open set is open. Yeah, third one, there exists a subbase S for u such that f inverse of v belongs to τ for every v in S. Okay, fourth one, for any closed subset A of y, f inverse of A is closed in X, which says that inverse image of closed set is closed. Fourth statement is inverse image of closed set is closed. And fifth one, for a subset of X, f of a whole closure is f of a closure is contained in f of a whole closure. These two both sets are clearly different because suppose A is here. Then a closure will be, suppose here it is a closure. Then f of a closure will be y x. So suppose this is f of a closure. So that is nothing but image set of this set, this square set. Okay. But is f of a whole closure? This is f of a closure. Okay. But f of a whole closure is consider image of a under f. Suppose this is suppose this is f of a. Then you consider its closure. Its closure something like this. Sorry, inside this whole y, okay. F of a whole closure. Okay, so both these two sets are clearly different. And we have to prove that f of a closure, that means this one, is contained in f of a the whole closure. This is this square set. Okay. So we have to prove that this theorem is, these 5 statements are equivalent. So we prove this like 1 implies 2 and 2 implies 1. That means 1 and 2 are equivalent and 2 and 3 are equivalent. 2 implies 3 and 3 implies 2. And 2 and 4 are equivalent. 2 implies 4 and 4 implies 2. And last 1 implies 5. And 5 implies 1. So these equivalence we need to prove. So first one, 1 implies 2. That is, suppose f is continuous. Let f from x to y be continuous. That means it is continuous at all points. We have to prove that for every v in u, f inverse of v belongs to τ. V in u means v is open in y. We need to prove inverse image of that open set is belongs to τ. Belongs to τ means again open in x. So let v belongs to u, which implies v is open in y because u is a topology on y. We have to prove f inverse of v belongs to τ. That is, f inverse of v is open in x. So how can you prove that a set is open? We know that a set is open in a topological space if and only if it is a neighborhood of each of its points. So to prove f inverse of v is open in capital X, we need only prove that f inverse of v is a neighborhood of each of its points. We prove f inverse of v is a neighborhood of each of its points. each of its points. So I take a point, let x naught is a point belongs to f inverse of v. So I need to prove that this is a neighborhood of x naught. How can you prove a set is a neighborhood of a point? In between them, we have to get a open set. So there exists an open set U says that x naught belongs to U and that U is contained in f inverse of V. That is we want to prove. Okay. So let x naught is a point belongs to f inverse of V. Since x naught belongs to f inverse of V, clearly x naught belongs to capital X. Because f inverse of V is a subset of capital X. But V ആണെങ്കിൽ inverse image ഇവിടെ ആയിരിക്കും അല്ലേ? So അത് x ലായിരിക്കും. അപ്പോൾ f inverse of V യിലെ point എടുത്താൽ അത് x ലെ point ആണ്. So x naught is a point in capital X. Okay. And we have assumed that f from x to y is continuous. Therefore, f is continuous at x naught. F is continuous means f is continuous at all of points of capital X. Therefore, f will be continuous at x naught. Okay. And x naught belongs to f inverse of v means actually f of x naught will be belongs to capital V. X naught belongs to f inverse of v means f of x naught belongs to capital V. And what is this V? V is open in y, comma, V is open in y. Okay. So, f is a function which is continuous at x naught. Okay. And V is an open set in y containing that point f of x naught. Okay. Then we can apply the definition of continuity at a point. By definition, f is continuous at x naught. Then for every open set V of f of x naught, here V is an open set of f of x naught, corresponding to this V, by definition of continuity, there will exist an open set U in capital X such that f of U is contained in V. Therefore, f is continuous at x naught, comma, by definition, corresponding to V of f of x naught, comma, there exists an open set U of x naught in capital X such that f of U will be contained in V. Also, since V is an open set containing f of x naught, implies V is a neighborhood of f of x naught. Okay, every open set can be considered as a neighborhood. So, V is a neighborhood of f of x naught. So, which implies V is a neighborhood of f of x naught and f is continuous at x naught. F is continuous at x naught. Therefore, by previous proposition, we have three statements. First one, f is continuous at x naught. Second one, V is a neighborhood of n is a neighborhood of f of x naught implies f inverse of n is a neighborhood of x naught. These two statements are equivalent. Okay, so by that previous proposition, f is continuous at x naught and V is a neighborhood of f of x naught implies by previous proposition f inverse of V. Inverse image of neighborhood is again a neighborhood in capital X. Inverse image of this neighborhood V is a neighborhood of f of x naught. F inverse of V, not f of x naught, x naught. It's inverse. F inverse of V is a neighborhood of x naught. So which implies f inverse of V is a neighborhood of x naught. Since x naught is an arbitrary point in f inverse of V and f inverse of V is a neighborhood of x naught means if we consider any point in f inverse of V, that will be again a neighborhood of that point. Therefore, f inverse of V is a neighborhood of each of its points. Each of its points. Since x naught arbitrary, therefore, f inverse of V is open because it is a neighborhood of each of its points. Open in capital X. So, we proved 1 implies 2. Whenever V is open in Y, then we proved that f inverse of V is open in X. So, this is when f is continuous, then inverse image of open set is open. Okay. Now, for the reverse part, that is 2 implies 1. Suppose for every V in U, comma, f inverse of V belongs to 2. That means inverse image of open set is open. We have to prove f is continuous. f is continuous. To prove f is continuous, or in particular f is tau u continuous, we take an arbitrary point x0 and we prove that that function is continuous at that point. Okay. So let x0 is a point in capital X. We need to prove f is continuous at x0. Okay. Let x0 is a point in capital X. To prove f is continuous at x0, we need to consider its image, f of x0. x0 belongs to capital X implies f of x0 belongs to capital Y. Now I take let V be an open set of f of x0 in Y. Let V be an open set of f of x0 in Y. Then f continuous on the prove. How can you prove a function is continuous in topological spaces at a point x0? For if we consider any open set V of f of x0 in Y, there exists an open set U such that f of u is contained in V. That is our definition. We have to verify that definition for proving f is continuous at x0. So I take a point x0. Now let V be an open set of f of x0 in Y. Okay, by your assumption, since V is open in Y, that means which implies V belongs to U since V is open. Therefore by assumption, f inverse of V belongs to tau. That means f inverse of V is an open set in X. Open set in capital X. Now x0 is a point here. V be an open set of f of x0. We have f of x0 belongs to V because V be an open set of f of x0, which implies x0 is a point in f inverse of V. F inverse of V. So which implies now I choose u equal to f inverse of V. Then x0 will be clearly belongs to U. And what is this U? Since by our assumption f inverse of V is an open set in capital X. Therefore, if we choose U equal to f inverse of V, then U will be open. Then U is open in X. And x0 belongs to U. Now, what is f of U? To prove f is continuous, we need to verify the definition. What is the definition? To prove the function continuous at x0, for any open set V in Y, there exists an open set U. So we get an open set U equal to f inverse of V, which is open, and x0 belongs to U, and f of U is contained in V. That is our definition. What is f of U? F of U equal to f of f inverse of V, because U equal to f inverse of V, and clearly which is contained in V. Therefore, f of U will be contained in V. Since V and x0 is arbitrary, V and x0 is arbitrary, for every open set to V of x0, of f of x0, there exists U of x0 in X such that f of U is contained in V will be true for all x0, which implies f is continuous. So 1 implies 2 and 2 implies 1 will be true. That means 1 and 2, the statements first and second are equivalent. 1 is equivalent to 2. Implies and implied by 2. Next we prove 2 and 3 are equivalent. For that 2 implies 3. First one. 2 implies 3. What is the second statement says? For every V in U, f inverse of V belongs to tau. That means inverse image of open set is open. We assume the second statement is true. We need to prove that the third statement. We have to prove that third one, there exists a subbase S. There exists a subbase S for U. Not for tau, it's for U. Actually the subbase S is defined for the topology in the codomain. For U such that f inverse of V belongs to tau for every V in S. So this is we want to prove. So actually it is a evidence statement because every topology can be considered as a subbase. Since every topology can be considered as a subbase for itself. Therefore, choose S is equal to U. Then clearly S is a subbase for U. Then clearly S is a subbase for U. Now we have to prove that subbase has the property that for every V in S, F inverse of V belongs to tau. Okay. Now let we take an element belongs to S. V belongs to S means V belongs to U because S is nothing but U. And we assumed that we have an assumption that for every V in U, F inverse of V belongs to tau. So by assumption, this V corresponding to this V in U, its inverse image F inverse of V must be belongs to tau by our assumption. So this subbase satisfies this property. For every V in S, F inverse of V belongs to tau ആകുന്ന ഒരു എസ് ഉണ്ടാവണം എന്നാണ് അവർ പറഞ്ഞിരിക്കുന്നത്. ആ എസ് നിങ്ങൾ എന്ത് തന്നെ എടുക്കുക, യു തന്നെ എടുക്കുക. അപ്പോൾ ക്ലിയർലി ആ പ്രോപ്പർട്ടി സാറ്റിസ്ഫൈഡ് ആണ്. Therefore, it is trivial. It is obvious that if we choose S equal to U, this result will be hot. Okay. Now we prove 3 implies 2. That means the reverse. Suppose there exists a subbase S for U such that F inverse of V belongs to tau for every V in S. We need to prove inverse image of open set is open. Assume 3. Assume the statement, third statement. Subbase with this property need to prove inverse image of open set is open. Okay. So for that, ഇതാണ് എനിക്ക് prove ചെയ്യേണ്ടത്. Okay. Let V belongs to U. I take a point V belongs to U. Point means it is an open set. Okay. Let V belongs to U. So which means V is open in capital Y. And let S be the subbase for U with the required property. With the required property, I take the subbase as S. Okay, S in the pratyekadayundu, the E pratyekadayundu. It has the property that for every V in S, F inverse of V belongs to tau. Okay, and you know the definition of subbase. What is the definition of subbase? If S is a subbase for a topology, then every open set in that topology can be expressed as arbitrary union of finite intersection of subbase elements. Okay, so using that definition of subbase, this open set V can be represented as by definition of subbase, comma, V can be written as V equal to, this is actually a representation, arbitrary union of finite intersection. So I have to choose some I equal to 1 to n, I take some Si. Okay, Si. That means if S is a subbase, then every open set can be written as arbitrary union of finite intersection of subbase elements. So this SIs belongs to capital S. Okay, and this U denote arbitrary union. So for that I have to take some index set. Alpha belongs to I. Si alpha, Si raised to alpha. It is not the power, it is just a representation. Comma, where Si belongs to script S and I is an indexed set. Okay. And this is true for every I. Okay. And every Si is an element belongs to S means subbase elements. Okay. Now we want to prove that inverse image of open set is open. That means V is an open set, therefore inverse image F inverse of V is open. So you consider what is F inverse of V. Because V is this, F inverse of V will be F inverse of this one. This arbitrary union, finite intersection, sub-base elements. Okay, so I take union outside. Union alpha belongs to I. Intersection I equal to 1 to n. F inverse of Si raised to some alpha. Okay, so this is F inverse of V. Now, what is Si? Now, this Si is nothing but element in the subbase. Okay, what is this S? This S is a subbase with a required property. What is the required property? Required property is nothing. For every V in S, F inverse of V belongs to tau. So, for every Si in S, F inverse of Si must be belongs to tau. Okay, so this raised to alpha is nothing but a representation only for considering this arbitrary union. Okay, so I can write since Si belongs to S, Si raised to alphas are also belongs to capital S. Therefore, F inverse of Si raised to alpha must be belongs to tau because S has this required property. Ready? Therefore, F inverse of Si raised to alpha belongs to tau. And what is tau? Tau is a topology on capital X. And topology is always closed under finite intersection and adds arbitrary union. Therefore, if these elements are belongs to tau, their finite intersection is also belongs to tau. When these elements are belongs to tau, then their arbitrary union is also belongs to tau. Since tau is topology, this must be true. Therefore, this whole thing will be belongs to tau. This whole thing is nothing but F inverse of V. So, which together implies F inverse of V belongs to tau. Or in particular, F inverse of V, actually F inverse of, this means F inverse of V is open in X. And these all are possible since tau is a topology on X. Being tau is a topology, it must be closed under a finite union, finite intersection and arbitrary union. Therefore, this whole thing will be belongs to tau. Okay, so this is 3 implies 2. When 2 implies 3 and 3 implies 2 are true, 2 and 3 are equivalent. So we get 2 implies and implied by 3 will be true. Clear? Now we prove 2 implies 4. അതായത് 2 and 4 are equivalent എന്നാണ് പ്രൂവ് ചെയ്യാൻ പോകുന്നത്. So for 2 implies 4. What is the second statement? Inverse image of open set is open. So assume for every V in U എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഓപ്പൺ സെറ്റ് ആണ് കേട്ടോ, യുവിലുള്ള ടോപ്പോളജിയിലുള്ള എലമെൻറ്റ്സ്. ഫോർ എവരി V in U, F inverse of V belongs to tau. This is our assumption. We have to prove that the fourth statement, that means inverse image of closed set is closed. We have to prove that for every A subset of X comma A is closed, F inverse of A is closed. For every A subset of not X, Y, F inverse of A is closed in X. That means inverse image of closed set is closed. Inverse image of closed set is closed. So our assumption is inverse image of open set is open. We need to prove inverse image of closed set is closed. Okay. So let A be a closed set in Y. Closed set in Y. So whenever a set is closed, its complement will be open. So which implies its complement Y minus A is open. Open means Y minus A belongs to U. Its topology. So whenever a set is belongs to U, by your assumption, its inverse image must be belongs to tau. Therefore, its inverse image is F inverse of Y minus A belongs to tau by assumption. And what is this? This can be written F inverse of Y minus F inverse of A belongs to tau. What is F inverse of Y? Since F is a function, its inverse image of the whole codomain is nothing but its domain. So X minus F inverse of A belongs to tau. X minus F inverse of A belongs to tau means it is open. X minus F inverse of A is open in, since tau is a topology on X, it is open in X. Okay, so which implies this set is open means it is nothing but complement of F inverse of A. So complement of F inverse of A is open implies F inverse of A is closed in X. So we get whenever A is closed in Y, its inverse image F inverse of A is closed in X. Okay, it is very obvious. It is very easy to prove. Now 4 implies 2. 4 implies 2 means inverse image of closed set is closed is our assumption. Assume for every closed set A of Y, comma, F inverse of A is closed in X. This is our assumption. What is our claim? Inverse image of open set is open. That is for every V in U, F inverse of V belongs to tau. This is our claim. Okay, so I take a point. Let V be open in Y. V be open in Y means V belongs to U. So whenever V is open, its complement will be closed. So Y minus V be closed in Y. So Y minus V is closed in Y. We can use the assumption. Whenever we get a closed set of Y, we can use this assumption. So by assumption, its inverse image F inverse of Y minus V will be closed in X. Not in Y, it is in X because it is an inverse image. And this is nothing but F inverse of Y minus F inverse of V is closed in X. And what is F inverse of Y? Capital X minus F inverse of V is closed. So it is nothing but complement is closed means that set will be open, is open. Open means F inverse of V belongs to tau. Since V is arbitrary, it will be also true. So 4 implies 2 and 2 implies 4 are very easy to prove. Therefore, they are clearly equivalent. Now the remaining part is 1 and 5 are equivalent. That is 5 implies 1 and 1 implies 5. So 5 implies 1. So the fifth statement of the theorem says that for every A subset of X, comma, F of A closure will be contained in F of A whole closure. So this is our statement. We assume this. Assume fifth statement. To prove first one means F is continuous. To prove F from X to Y continuous. So to prove F is continuous, we need only prove a function is continuous at an arbitrary point. So we take a point, let X0 belongs to capital X. Okay, now let V be an open set containing F of X0. We take a point and consider its image of X0, that is F of X0. We take an arbitrary open set of F of X0. We need to prove there exists an open set U such that F of U is contained in V. This is we want to prove. Okay. So which implies V is an open set of containing F of X0 means F of X0 belongs to V. That means X0 belongs to F inverse of V. Now to use our assumption, that is for every A subset of A, F of A closure contained in F of A whole closure, this is our assumption. Okay, to prove, actually for using this statement, we need a subset A. So for that I take let A equal to X minus F inverse of V. So F inverse of V is clearly a subset of capital X because it is an inverse image. Inverse image is clearly contained in its domain. Therefore, X minus F inverse of X is clearly a subset of capital X. Okay. Then A can be written X is nothing but F inverse of Y minus F inverse of V, which is equal to F inverse of Y minus V. Okay, so A is nothing but F inverse of Y minus V. Therefore, F of A is nothing but F of F inverse of Y minus V, and this is actually contained in Y minus V. So we get F of A is contained in Y minus V. Therefore, F of A closure will be contained in Y minus V closure. But V is open in capital Y. V is open set in capital Y. Actually, this is in Y. Therefore, Y minus V is complement. since V is open, its complement is closed. Closure of a closed set is again closed. Therefore, it is nothing but y minus v. Okay. So, f of a whole closure is contained in y minus v. F of a whole closure is contained in y minus v itself. Suppose I take equation number 1. And now, f of x naught is a point in v. So, which implies f of x naught cannot be belongs to its complement. Okay, f of x naught belongs to v means it cannot be belongs to v complement. V complement is nothing but y minus v. So, which implies f of x naught not belongs to y minus v means it cannot be belongs to f of a whole closure also, because this one is a small set contained in y minus v. So, y minus v is the larger set. F of x naught is a point not belongs to this larger one means it cannot be belongs to its smaller one also. Therefore, f of x naught cannot be belongs to f of a whole closure. Okay. Now, in this stage we are using our assumption. What is our assumption? F of a closure is contained in f of a whole closure is true. So, whenever we have a set, we can use this one. So, we have by assumption f of a closure is contained in f of a whole closure. Okay, which means x belongs to f of a closure implies the same x also belongs to f of a whole closure. If we take any point x belongs to this one, that is also belongs to this one. Okay. So, this is a statement of the form P implies Q. P implies Q. Whenever P implies Q is true, negation Q implies negation P is also true because these two are equivalent. Okay. So, what is negation Q? Negation Q is x not belongs to f of a closure implies negation P. X not belongs to f of a closure. So, this is whenever our assumption is true or assumption hold, this statement is also true. So, we are not applying our assumption directly, we are using this one, the equivalent statement of our assumption. So, when if a point is not belongs to f of a closure, that same point cannot be belongs to f of a closure. ഇവിടെ closure whole ആണ്, ഇവിടെ closure aക്ക് മാത്രമാണ്. So, which implies f of x naught is a point not belongs to f of a closure. Clear? F of a closure. So, f of x naught not belongs to f of a closure means x naught not belongs to a closure because f is a function. x naught ഇവിടെ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിലല്ലേ അതിൻ്റെ ഇമേജ് അതിലുണ്ടെന്ന് പറയാൻ പറ്റത്തുള്ളൂ. It is so I can say that x naught not belongs to a closure. By the same previous arguments, x naught not belongs to a closure means x naught is not a limit point of a. So, x naught is not a limit point of a means there exists a neighborhood n of x naught such that n intersection a equal to empty. There will exist a neighborhood of x naught which does not intersect with the capital A. Therefore, I get n intersection a is empty. Since n is a neighborhood of x naught, by the definition of neighborhood, there exists an open set u such that in between that point and neighborhood that open set will lie. So, x naught belongs to u and that u is contained in n. Okay. Also, n intersection a equal to empty. We have n intersection a equal to empty. So, I can write n is contained in a complement, that is x minus a. That is n is contained in x minus, what is this a? This a is we defined x minus f inverse of v, which is same as f inverse of y minus v. So, I take x minus f inverse of v. So, n is contained in x minus f inverse of v. So, it is nothing but complement of f inverse of v whole complement. രണ്ട് പ്രാവശ്യം കോംപ്ലിമെൻറ്റ് അപ്ലൈ ചെയ്തിരിക്കുക. സോ n is contained in f inverse of v. Okay, n is contained in f inverse of v, or in particular f of n is contained in v. F രണ്ട് സൈഡും അപ്ലൈ ചെയ്തോളൂ. സോ f of n is contained in v. And what is f of u? We have u is contained in n. U contained in n implies f of u will be contained in f of n, right? U contained in n means f of u will be contained in f of n. And now f of n is contained in v. So together implies f of u contained in f of n contained in v. Okay, enough. So we get, to prove phi implies 1, we assumed that the fifth statement f of a closure is contained in f of a whole closure. We need to prove f is continuous. For that we take a point x0, v be any arbitrary open set f of x0 in y. Then using that f of a, using that v, we define some capital A equal to this state. Then you can prove that this f of a closure will be contained in y minus v using the closure of a set and inverse image and function, etc. Then we apply our assumption not directly using the equivalent statement negation q implies negation p here. So we get x0 is a point not belongs to a closure. So we get a neighborhood n such that n intersection a equal to empty. So you can define some u using the neighborhood of definition of neighborhood. So you get f of u is contained in f of n is contained in v. Okay. So what you get now? For every open set v of f of x0, there exists an open set u. What is u? U is nothing but an open set. There exists an open set u. So for every v open set v of f of x0, comma, there exists an open set u of x0 such that f of u is contained in v is proved. Therefore, f is continuous. And it's a very good statement, very important statement. When a function is continuous, this property is hold, then that corresponding function will be continuous in a topological space. Now we move to the last part of the theorem, that is 1 implies phi. 1 implies phi. So assume that f is continuous. Let f from x to y be continuous. And we have to prove that for every a subset of x, f of a closure is contained in f of a. Our claim, f of a closure is contained in f of a closure for every a subset of x. Okay, so let a is a subset of x. And I take a point belongs to this one, and we have to prove that that point is also belongs to this one. So let y0 is a point belongs to f of a closure. Okay, we have to prove that y0 belongs to f of a whole closure. Okay, so how can you prove that a point belongs to closure of some set? We need to prove that either it belongs to that f of a or it is a limit point of f of a. അല്ലേ, ഒരു പോയിന്റ് ഒരു സെറ്റിൻ്റെ ക്ലോഷറിൽ ഉണ്ടാവണമെങ്കിൽ ആ പോയിന്റ് ഒന്നുകിൽ ആ സെറ്റിൽ ഉണ്ടാവണം, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ആ പോയിന്റ് അതിൻ്റെ ലിമിറ്റ് പോയിന്റ് ആവണം. വൈ? ബിക്കോസ് എഫ് ഓഫ് എ ക്ലോഷർ, വാട്ട് ഈസ് എ ക്ലോഷർ? എ ക്ലോഷർ ഈക്വൽ ടു എ യൂണിയൻ എ പ്രൈം. Okay, so what is f of a whole closure? It is nothing but f of a union f of a prime. That means a point belongs to this set means either belongs to this or belongs to this. So to prove y0 belongs to f of a whole closure, we need to prove that y0 is either a point of f of a or a point or a limit point of f of a, because it is nothing but derived set of f of a. Clear? So okay, so we have here y0 is a point in f of a closure. So which implies y0 can be written some f of x0 where x0 belongs to a closure. x0 a closure then f of x0 will be equal to y. Ready? So which implies x0 belongs to a closure. x0 belongs to a closure means x0 is a limit point of a. x0 is a limit point of a. Either a point of a or a limit point of a, or in particular I consider x0 is a limit point of a. Okay. Since it is a limit point, for any neighborhood n of x0, it will intersect with the capital A. So I take a neighborhood, let n be a neighborhood of now let n be a neighborhood of y0 in capital Y. Since n is a neighborhood of y0, by definition then there exists an open set V such that y0 belongs to V and that V is contained in N. Just the definition of neighborhood of N. Okay, so we get N is the neighborhood of y0. What is y0? F of x0. Okay, so which implies N is a neighborhood okay. So V be an open set containing the point y0. Y0 is nothing but f of x0. And we know that f is continuous, right? So which implies f is continuous at x0 and V is an open set containing its image f of x0, that is y0. Open set containing y0 equal to f of x0. Therefore by continuity, there exists an open set u of x0 such that f of u will be contained in V. So we get an open set u of x0. Okay, u of x0. And we have x0 is a limit point of capital A. Then by definition, every neighborhood or every open set of x0 must intersect with the capital A. Here u is an open set of x0. Therefore u intersection A must be non-empty. Which implies u intersection A must be non-empty, not empty. Why? Because since x0 is a limit point of A and x0 belongs to u. By these two reasons, u intersection A must be non-empty. Since it is non-empty, this set has elements. So I take an arbitrary element. Let P is an element belongs to u intersection A. Okay, so which implies P belongs to U and P belongs to A. So f of P belongs to f of U and f of P again belongs to f of A. We are applying function at that point. So which implies f of P belongs to f of U, and we know that f of U is contained in f of U is contained in V, and that V is contained in N. We have these two statements. Okay, so instead of f of U I can write V and that V is contained in N. So I take f of P belongs to N and f of P belongs to f of A, because f of U contained in V and that V is contained in N. So which implies f of P is an element belongs to both N and f of A. Therefore f of P belongs to N intersection f of A. So f of P is an element belongs to this one, means this set will be non-empty. N intersection f of A is non-empty because it has at least one element f of P. So what is N? N is a neighborhood of y0 in Y. So if we consider any arbitrary neighborhood of y0, that neighborhood will intersect with the f of A. So what is the meaning? Every neighborhood of y0 will intersect with the f of A. What is the meaning? Every neighborhood of y0 will intersect with f of A. That means y0 is a limit point of f of A. So whenever y0 is a limit point of f of A, y0 will be belongs to its closure, its derived set, or f of A closure. Because its closure will always contains its derived set. A closure പറഞ്ഞാൽ limit point contain ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. So y0 will be belongs to f of A closure. So starting from y0 belongs to f of A closure, we get the same y0 belongs to f of A whole closure. Therefore, f of A closure is contained in f of A whole closure is true. So whenever a function is continuous, this property is also hold for every A subset of x. So 1 implies 5 and 5 implies 1 is true. Therefore 1 and 5 are equivalent. Therefore all the 5 statements are equivalent in the theorem.